Students, welcome back. Since now we have seen about the different materials in the first unit. Now we are entering into the second unit. What we will see the second unit is the masonry. Masonry structures we will be seeing, and the type of masonry, what is the bond, English bond, Flemish bond, like that we will see. And we will see about the wood, right? First we will see about the masonry, then bonds we will see, then wood we will see. Then we will see about the wood means timber, right? What is timber, what is seasoning, everything we will be seeing. And what are the defects in the timber, what is seasoning of timber, what are the alternative, next one, last one, it is the alternative materials of our wood we are seeing. So we will be taking it as aluminium also. Already we have seen aluminium. Only the small things I will be seeing, but other things, this galvanized iron, fiber reinforced plastics, steel we will be seeing in detail. So this class I will be seeing only about the stone masonry and a small introduction about the brick masonry. Okay. So what is a masonry? Okay. So what we call it as a masonry? In a building we have walls. We call it as a masonry walls. Masonry walls may be made up of this bricks, or nowadays it is made up of plastics. The bricks may be of either any type of bricks, or even the compound wall we call it as a masonry walls, right? So that compound walls is made up of masonry walls. It is also made up of bricks or stones or any other materials. So the materials that is bonded with the cement mortar. Okay. So the construction of building units bonded with together with mortar, we call it as that is the masonry. What is a mortar? What is a mortar? Mortar is nothing but cement with this is a binding material with sand, or else the next one, it is a lime with sand. Okay. So nowadays not only the river sand, there is M sand, plastic sand, so many types of sand we are using. And the cement or lime, it is the materials that is used for binding. Okay, cement and sand, or lime and sand. So it is the construction of two units, two building materials, it is constructed together with the sand. So this is not a masonry, it is a very units that is kept as such. If it is to be binded with the sand or a mortar materials, we call it as a masonry. Okay. So the building units may be a stones, bricks, or any pre-casted units. Pre-casted means we can cast anywhere and we can bring it to the site. Okay, that can be a pre-casted concrete blocks, right? It can be a stones or a brick or a pre-casted concrete blocks which can be used for this masonry units. And what are the, depending upon these things into considerations, it is considered as stone masonry, where stones, whether it is dressed or under, that is without dressings, before dressing the stones we can use it, or with the dressing proper materials we will use, we will see that. And the next one, it is a brick masonry. The third one, it is a composite masonry. Fourth one, it is a cavity wall, and the lintel and the arches. So these are the different types of masonry. Okay. First we will see about the stone masonry in detail. This is the masonry, stone masonry, that is made up of very almost equal, that is sized stones. Okay. So the rock that is removed from its natural size, generally cut or dressed, right? Dressings of stones we have already found in the first unit. So what is dressing of stone? I will ask in the end of the unit. Okay. Then finished for the building purpose is called as a stone. Generally for the building stones we are calling it as it is a building stone, taken from the natural rocks, cut into proper size, dressed it, finished it as proper, and we are taking it as a stone for the building stone. And the art of building the structure with the stone with the conventional units, we call it as the stone masonry, right? So art of building the structure, various type, various facings, everything will be different, we call it as a stone masonry. So what is the two types of stone masonry is that? One is Rubel masonry, the next one it is the Ashlar masonry. The masonry spelling is M-A-S-O-N-R-Y. Somewhere M-A-S-O-N-A-R-Y is there, kindly ignore the A, right? So one is Rubel masonry, next one it is the Ashlar masonry. In ruble masonry, we will be seeing what is coarse ruble masonry, what is uncoarse ruble masonry. Then we will be seeing what is random ruble masonry, what is polygonal ruble masonry, and flint ruble masonry, dry ruble masonry. Okay. In the ashlar masonry, we will be saying what is ashlar fine masonry, ashlar rough tooled masonry, rock or quarry traced masonry, ashlar or chamfered, ashlar block in course or ashlar facing masonries. These are the different types. So mainly the stone masonry of two types. One is the ruble masonry, next one is the ashlar masonry, and there are 6 types under the different things. That is the ruble masonry it is 6, ashlar masonry it is having 6 types. Okay. The stone masonry in which either undressed or roughly dressed stones are laid is called as the ruble masonry. Right? So either we will be using a rock and it will be cutted into the particles different sizes that we will be used, or we will be using hammers or machine cutting, whatever it is, properly cut into different size that we may use. That is called as undressed or roughly dressed. Not properly dressed, roughly dressed stones we will use it in the ruble masonry. So compared to the ashlar masonry, this ruble masonry will be a rough used stones. Okay. So in this masonry, the joints of the mortar are not of uniform thickness because the stones which we are using is not of uniform thickness. The strength of the ruble masonry depend upon the quality of the mortar. Mortar is the cement and sand or slime and sand, and the use of the long throw stones. How much one stones, if it is breaking into small pieces, it may have some fractures and other things. So long thorough stones and the proper filling of mortar between the spaces of stones. So mostly the mortar plays a very important role in determining the strength of this ruble masonry. So first I will tell you about the coarse ruble masonry. In this type of masonry, the stones used are of widely different sizes. Now that uniform size is not there. This is the roughest and cheapest of stone masonry. And in coarse random ruble masonry, the masonry work is carried out in courses such that the stones in a particular course are of equal height. So you can see almost this is the plan, elevation and section. Okay. So when I am seeing this will be there. Almost in the outer part, we will have a uniform sized stones, and we will have the in between that we will be fixing with the all different types of stones. Mostly, but outside we will be having a very big type of stones, right? Inside we will have a very small types. So when I am going to take a section, that is section means if I am going to cut it and I am going to see now, it will be like this. Okay? So this one will have this is a plan means I am seeing from upper part. Section I am going to, cut this means it will have a wall, right? Like that. So this, if I am going to cut, it will have some stones like this, larger stones, smaller stones. It will not be uniform size. But when we go for an elevation also, it won't be of uniform size. So the ends will be having a very good stones to compact the smaller stones. So this is one, why we are keeping this one is to have a very good section, a complete size, so that inside we can fill it with any other type of material. This is the coarse ruble masonry. Second one, it is uncoarse ruble masonry. So here in the coarse ruble masonry, you have seen that this is almost of one coarse, that is one specific type of material. Okay, but here that will not be there. Here you can see it is of different sizes even at the ends, right? So here you can see it is not even of any uniform size, it is of this. So here this type the masonry used are widely different sizes here also. This is the roughest and cheapest form. This is also the cheapest form. The largest stones are laid first and spaced between them are being filled with the smaller particles. The third one, it is a random. Random means taken, that is not selecting in particular. Randomly we can take and we can use this material. And this material mostly it will have a not a dressed one, but it is partially dressed one. And it is having a straight bed and sides are used. The stones are usually squared and brought to hammer dressed and straight cut finish. So you can see the stones will be of different sizes and different thick and other things, but it will be stone. This is finishing will be almost good. Okay, it will be rough finished one. You can see now, even it is not rough. Square is there, rectangle, any size is there. You can see if you are taking a cutting now, you can see the different sizes of stones. In between, this is a mortar, right? This is a mortar. Okay, so you can see here, right? This will be like this. So it will be almost a dressed, partially dressed, or it will have a uniform squared, or it is a rectangular size. Okay, so in the post square ruble masonry, the work is carried out in courses of varying depth. Okay, so it is depending upon the depth, we will have the masonry, right? Structure. The next one, it is a polygonal ruble masonry. So then in almost all the material will have a uniform polygonal structure. Okay, it will have a uniform polygonal structure. You can see now it is even the polygon is of different types, but it will be can be arranged in random manner. It is not a systematic manner. It is a haphazard manner, so that it can give a very good face uplift, right? So the face uplift is very important here, and the joints can be done properly with the mortar. It gives a strength, and in the end they will have a very uniform, so that this will be giving a very good strength to the internal polygon masonry things. Okay, so here it is the stones are hammer dressed. Okay, it is a polygonal size. It is dressed properly, and it is a irregular polygonal shape. Not the shape of each polygonal. It is not the same, but it has a polygonal shape, and the face joints are seen running in irregular fashion in all the directions. Right. So this is the fourth one. The next one, it is the flint ruble masonry. This flint ruble masonry is mainly made up of pebbles and flint properties. So what is pebbles? Pebbles will have rounded particles which will be filled inside, and the flint will be having a roughly dressed particles of almost uniform sizes, and we will be using it in the outer layer, and the pebbles will be filling it. So the stones are used with cobbles, that is cobbles are very bigger size of these pebbles are bigger size, and they are irregularly shaped modules of silica. The stones are extremely hard, and they are brittle, and they are not able to deform. They deform very easily, right? They are brittle and they deform and break easily. The next one, it is the dry ruble masonry. In the dry ruble masonry, we will be taking the stones, undressed or dressed stones, almost having a very uniform finish, and it may be of different sizes, different that is the finishing particles, everything that we will be saying. What we will do now, we will be keeping it as such without any mortar. Okay, the arrangement is such that it interlocks itself with one another, so that it will itself will be kept in a position, it won't get moved, right? So you can see in so many places they will be having the stones that are kept as benches like this. Okay, it will not be moved. This may be used for non-load bearing walls, such as even compound walls and other things. You can use this. Okay, so the largest stones will be on face. The first course structure, it is given, and above that it is arranged like this. Okay. So the next one, it is the ashlar masonry. So since now we saw the ruble masonry, the ruble masonry is the very undressed, or it is slightly dressed stones we are using. It is the ashlar masonry. Ashlar masonry is the finely dressed stones laid in cement or lime mortar is known as the ashlar masonry. Masonry, all the joints will be regular, it will be thin, it will be very systematically, it will be considering with uniform thickness. This type of masonry is costly in construction, as it involves heavy cost of dressing of stones. Right? Compared to the ruble masonry, ashlar masonry is costly. This masonry is used for heavy structures, arches, architecture buildings, high piers, abutments of bridges, and etc. Okay. So compared to the brick masonry, stone masonry is very costly, And compared to the Rubel masonry, ashlar masonry is very costly. Rubel masonry randomly that we are using, but ashlar masonry we will be using with only after proper dressing, after proper finishing of the stones, then we will be doing it. Okay. So in this type of first one, it is the ashlar fine masonry. Each stone is cut into uniform size and shape with all sides rectangular so that the stones will give perfectly horizontally and vertical joints with the adjoining stones. You can see here it is all of uniform size. Okay. Wherever we are going for a masonry, here it is a stone masonry or it is a brick masonry, any masonry, we have to be very careful that the joints should not be all throughout joint. If the joint should be like this only, because otherwise what will happen? It will break in the joint into two pieces. Okay. Here you can see the stones that are very neatly packed and having a very good look. And this type of masonry, that is ashlar fine masonry, is very, very costly. Okay. So the next one, it is the ashlar rough masonry. In ashlar rough masonry, the beds and sides are finely chiseled and dressed. Okay. So you can see that is the particles that is here in the last one, and this sides, this will be properly rectangular, it will be fine faced everything. In between this will not be finely having a face. But the face is made rough by means of tools. A strip about 25 mm wide and made by the means of chisels is provided around the perimeter of the rough dressed face of each stone. Here you can see it will be roughed by the chisel so that the bonding properties can be increased. The next one, it is a rock or quarry face one. In this type of masonry, a strip of 25 mm and made by means of chisels is provided around the perimeter of every stone, and a rough tooled ashlar masonry. Remaining portion of the face is left in the same form received from the quarry. So only in the edges we will have a finishing, and we will keep as it is. It is an axle beads of stones. Okay. So the next one, it is the ashlar chamfered masonry. Chamfered masonry will have a if it is a, you can see here, this is the actual size, and in between it will be 3D, right? You can see here. It is a chamfered like this, so that it will have a 3D effect and it will have a just uplifting effect, right? So that we can be used. Mostly it is angle of this angle will be 45 degrees, and by means of chisel by the depth of about 25 mm. So it will be having a very good look. You can see here this type of masonry, it will give a very harsh look, right? So it is good in aesthetics and we will be using it. Is very costly, right? The next one, it is the ashlar block in coarse masonry. So here you can see, so it is a systematic way of construction. So we will have the ashlar dressed materials in a block, stone blocks, right? Like that of a brick block, we have a stone block. And it will be constructed in a systematic way, right? So the hammer dressed stones and backing of the mold will be provided by Rubel masonry. The next one is the ashlar facing masonry. So you can see here, only the outer part will be having a ashlar stones. Inside they will have a brick one. Okay, this is the Rubel ashlar where we have in the outside it is made up of ashlar. Ashlar is the commonly dressed, very well dressed finished stone. So this is all an ashlar. So here in between this is a Rubel. It is not a undressed stones, or it is made up of systematic brick. Okay, this is another type. So where we can have a very good look of stone outside, but inside we can have, so that the cost can be reduced. The next one, we will go in for a brick masonry. In the brick masonry, I will tell you only a small part, that is important terms in the class, and regarding the brick masonry structures, we will be seeing in the next class. Okay, the first one, it is the structure. Okay, we have already seen a brick, how it is. This is a brick, right? Okay, this is a brick. Okay, so this lengthy side we call it as a structure. Okay, the smaller side we call it as a header. This we call it as a header. Okay, so what is the strength? A brick laid with its length horizontal and parallel with the face of the wall and other masonry member is called as the stretcher. Okay, you can see here, this is the length of the bricks that is made, seen facing this, we call it as a stretcher course, or we call it as a stretcher. Okay, so actually a stretcher course is nothing but, so if this layer, after this we will have a stretcher layer. Okay, and we will have another stretcher layer like that, so it will have a similar 3D view. So this is the stretching course or stretcher course on the stretchers. Okay, so the next one, it is the header. I told you what is a header. So header is nothing but in the brick, this part, the smaller facing part, we call it as a header, and similarly this is the header, and this I am going to have this heading like this always, we call it as the header course. Like that of a stretcher, this is called as a header course. Heading course, or we call it as a header course, and the particles that is here, we call it as a header. And the third one, it is the bond. The arrangement of bricks and stone in course to ensure the greatest possible interlocking to avoid the continuity of vertical drawing in two excessive courses, that we call it as the bond. As I told you already, okay, so here this bricks, when I am telling about the stone also, the joint should not be vertical, right? The joint should not be vertical. That is for all masonry structures, we can say this joint should not be vertical, and the bond should be between each layer should be minimum thickness, but it should ensure a greater interlocking between two sides. So the next one, what is a course, we will see. Horizontal layer of the bricks is a mortar, we call it as a course. This is one course, right? This is one header course. So this we call it as a one stretcher course. So similarly, I am going for another thing. This is two stretcher course. Like that, I can go for a regular stretcher course or alternative. So the next I will see about the brick bat. So why this brick bat is important is that wherever there is a small bat, that is small gap is there, we have to fill it with the brick layer. We go in for this with the brick bat. So the pieces of bricks cut along their length having width equivalent to that of the full or half brick is called as the brick bat. You can see, right? So this brick, along this we call it as a brick bat. This we call it as a lower bar. This we call it as a square, that is exactly half, or we call it as a quarter bat. This is quarter bat, this is square bat, this is the 3/4 bat. Okay, this is 3/4 bat. This is a half bat, or we call it as a square bat. This is quarter bat, or we call it as a 1/4 bat. The next one, it is a pin closure. Okay, so if I am going to take a brick like this, okay, this is we consider as a brick. Exactly at the middle, if I am going to break it into two layers, you can see this is a pin closure. Okay, so exactly at the middle along the longitudinal, I am cutting it into the pin closure, and these are usually used to the point header for creating bonds in the bricks, because for ensuring to avoid the vertical bonds along the layers, we go in for this pin closure. The next one, it is a king closure. So this diagonal piece, right? Not the exact half, but the diagonal piece, we call it as a king closure. Okay, so here it is a passing through the center of this head, and it will bend to this center. Then the beveled closures is that from this half to the one end, we call it as a beveled closure. Okay, and it is a bull nose is nothing but the rounded corner bricks, we call it as the bull nose. Here it is you can see it is a very perfect rectangular, but here it is a rounded corner. With this we call it as a bull nose. Where now in this edge of the building and other things, we don't want to go for a very perfect edges. So in order to have a smooth edges, we go in for this bull nose bricks. And this is a beveled closure, I told you now. It is a starting from this curve and it ends in the another edges. We call this as the beveled closure. Okay. The next one we call it, this one, the last one, it is a frog. What is a frog means, if you are taking a brick now, in one part or one side of the bricks it will be very flat. In another side they will have some SKS, MG, like that one, I mean some name of the company will be there. So where the name of the company they are giving, it is called as the frogs, right? So the frogs mostly it is a 20% of the total gross volume can be used for the frogs. The frogs may be of this type like a tapering, it can be a rectangular type and it can be of two sides like a blocks of two sides it can be of frogs. Okay. So with this, this I will tell you, this is a brick now. If I am going to see what is this one, this is called as the length of the brick. Okay, this is the length of the brick. This I am calling it as the width of the brick. This I call as the height of the brick. And this I call it as a face. Okay, whichever it is facing, I call it as the face of the brick. Okay, the next one I call it as this as a header. So I told you now this lengthwise, if I am taking it, it is a header, stretcher. This one it is a header. Okay, this face. This face I call it as a header. This face I call it as a stretcher. Okay, stretcher, header, right? So the length, width, height, face, stretcher, header. Okay, these all things you should be remembering this, what I am telling now, you should remember the words, right? So bond is arrangement of the bricks in each course so as to ensure the greatest possible interlocking to avoid the continuity of the vertical joints including successive courses. You will see the bonds in details and the types of bricks in details. So what is that we saw in this class? Is that this is either we go for a modular brick or ordinary brick for the brick masonry structure, and these are the type joints. Actually, when I am going in for breaking two bricks together, I can't go in for a very correct joint at the end. Okay, this type of joint where I go in for this, it is called as a weathered joint. This we call it as a concave joint because it is a concave type. This is V, exact V, we call it as a V joint. This is a flush joint where it is a almost it will be very, to the core. It is racked joints means it will be a little bit inside. So much of length inside we call it as a stripped joint, and this is a stuck joint. Okay, like this it is stuck joint, that type it is called as a weathering joint. Okay, so the type of joint in the bonds in the brick masonry are stretching bond, header bond, stretcher bond, English bond, Flemish bond, double Flemish bond, single Flemish bond, garden wall band, racking bond, then herringbone bond and Dutch bond, which we will be seeing in the next class. So what we have seen in this step, we have started with the second unit and we have seen what is a masonry structure and what are the different types of masonry structures, and we saw about the stone masonry in detail. The next class we will be seeing about the brick masonry in details. Also we saw as a brick masonry, before that we have seen what is the parts of the bricks and what are the different terms that is associated with the brick masonry. So be thorough with the last portions, that is the brick masonry, what are the terms and other things. So with the terms in the mind, we will go in for the seeing the brick masonry in details. And what are the brick masonry we will be seeing is the bond is the stretcher bond, header bond, English bond, Flemish bond. Then we will see the garden wall band, racking bond, herringbone bond and the Dutch bond in the next class.